Hello, I have a message today called What is Actually Here? So the short version, or the outline: God is enough. If you look anywhere you call else and you declare failure, your attention has wandered from what is actually here. You are a safe being who is addicted to imagining they are a person in unsafe circumstances. All your fellow beings are around you reminding you of safety, but you see them as person disguises, saying imaginary things about the disaster you are imagining. It is not everyone else who has to wake up. No one is your enemy. Okay, so God is enough. If I ever have a sense of not enoughness, I can remember that I'm actually resting and being held in what is and always will be enough for everybody, and it's turning my attention to that is most powerful. So God is enough. When I'm afraid of or resistant to anything, it's actually God, this enoughness that I'm resistant to, only I've given what is actually here, what is actually real, a disguise of being some element of a world of chaos. And I believe it's that thing I'm afraid of. I believe it's that thing I'm resisting. But really, I've just disguised what is here and what is enough, what will always be enough, God, with that fear surface of whatever the thing is I think I don't like, or I think I should avoid, or I think I should fight against. If you look anywhere you call else and you declare failure, your attention has wandered from what is actually here. So I can catch myself analyzing and deciding about the seemingly separate aspects of time and space, and then I can take a moment, rest in silence, come back to what is here, and put what is here in charge. I can't look at any configuration of time and space aspects and say that it's a failure or a success, and for that to have any meaning, because the only meaning is what is here. And what is here can't be sliced and diced, and can't be analyzed, and can't really be declared a success or a failure. That's a judgment coming at it from ego. And if everything is God, we're just covering God up with a little thin surface and calling it's this separate thing I'm looking at, it's that separate aspect I'm looking at, and then ego will give us judgment thoughts about it. So if you look anywhere you call else and you declare failure, your attention has wandered from what is actually here. We can feel when we declare failure, and then we can stop, and then we can, with great patience, come back and reorient and rest and be still and wait. Is there anything I'm supposed to do? Is there anything I'm supposed to say? It's like we learn how to keep returning from the place where we can get actually helpful instruction, not the ego's instruction. There's a difference between how those two feel. I feel as if I wait long enough in the waiting place where I'm orienting toward what is actually here, then the action just comes. Okay, you are a safe being. We all are. No matter what fear surfaces we've projected on what seem to be the other beings, they're safe beings because we're one being and it is safe, who is addicted to imagining they are a person in unsafe circumstances. All your fellow beings are around you, reminding you of safety, but you see them as person disguises, saying imaginary things about the disaster you are imagining. So from that perspective, we can see how much help we need. We don't know what's what, but we keep imagining, so we keep seeing and experiencing things that aren't here. And so that means we're blind. I think in A Course in Miracles, one of the lines is, "Nothing so blinding as perception of form," or something close to that. And I can see that now. If I'm believing these fear surfaces I'm churning out, I'm allowing ego to churn out for me, are real, and I'm busy analyzing and judging them and ranking them, I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. So I need to be shown You are a safe being who is addicted to imagining they are a person. So we're not persons, but we're playing the roles of persons in unsafe circumstances, all of which we have imagined. All your fellow beings are around you, reminding you of safety. It's come upon me more than once that I feel like there's a whole group gathered around me, encouraging me to wake up. And a couple particular points and what I've experienced, I've had a very direct invitation to go with them to wake up, and I have always said no, because twice, I can think of 2 times I've said no, because I believed I had responsibilities here in my imagination that I had to uphold. But now I'm finally getting to the point where I understand, oh, I don't. I could just go. I could just say yes. So that's an interesting thing to experience, to have that fall away and fall away and fall away until you see you can just say yes to waking up or to seeming to leave this place. Okay. So all of your fellow beings are around you, reminding you of safety, but you see them as person disguises. They're beings, but we're seeing them as person disguises. So we definitely need help because we're walking around blind here. Saying imaginary things. Think about if instead of saying these words to you, I said, Schmorga tigga rompenseik. And what would that mean? All the other sounds I'm making are the same as Schmorga tigga rompenseik. But we have assigned those specific sounds and patterns meaning, and we remembered them. Think of how hard we worked to pretend that the imaginary is true, right down to language, words, letters, all the separate things we think are real. Look at how hard we worked to pretend that what is imaginary is real. And now here, always present, never left us, is what is real to guide us through and out of what we imagined. And what are we being guided through and out of? The disaster we imagined. It has to be a disaster. If you're a body and you believe you are the body, and you believe the destiny of the body is death, how could that be anything other than a disaster? Even if on your way to death, you seem to walk through forms that could be called good or bad. Well, because some of them can be called good, you say, well, this is a good place because I'm trying to lean in the direction of that good. Well, we made an opposite of good to oppose that, and we made death inevitable when we are eternal beings who cannot die. So waking up to what we did is helpful, helps us see how blind we are when we're here, and that we need the help of our whole self, of spirit, to lead us through and out of what we have imagined. We don't really know anything about anything. We can be in that mode where we're churning out chaos and we continue to experience it. Or we remember that the second we seem to make a world based on chaos, the Holy Spirit was there, who also made a world based on healing. And I can keep choosing that world based on healing the disconnect in our minds, the separation or gap we seem to make between ourselves and God, or ourselves and each other. That is not true. The Holy Spirit's world of healing is here for us in every moment, and we can just say yes to it, and we can find everyone we call else there in that world, but we find them happy, healed, whole. So it's always an opportunity to remember, the second the ego made the world of chaos, Spirit made the world of healing and all its miracles right next to it. And if we want to be with Spirit, we're here in the world Spirit made to guide us through and out of what we imagined. Okay, it is not everyone else who has to wake up, because there's just one of us. So we can get confused thinking, maybe I think I'm awake and I have to wake somebody else up, but it's a together thing. If I don't look around me and see everybody completely aware that they're 100% safe and 100% happy, and that they're not the body, then they're just reflecting my mind back to me. If I don't see that, then I still need help. And of course, I can help everyone around me by recognizing who and what they are and by strengthening that in their minds, and they can do the same for me. And as we do that, we tune into this world Holy Spirit has for us, this world of healing. That's forgiveness. We look through the fear surfaces we're projecting on each other to what is actually here, in willingness to be carried through and out of it. No one is your enemy. Literally no one. If I'm looking at an enemy, I'm looking at nothingness, a fear surface that I invented, that I'm projecting, that never existed. It's nothing. It seems to be here and it's not. I'm imagining it. Enemies are impossible, and yet they still seem to appear. Why? Only because they can only appear if I wanted to see them. And knowing how crazy I am is helpful. If I'm seeing enemies, I wanted to see enemies, and who would want to see enemies? A crazy one. So the crazy one needs help, and the help is always here. And that help is what is innermost and truest of every being and even everything we meet or encounter today. So if I can steadily rely on that, the help that is alive and true and most real about everyone and everything, tune into that, flow with that, then I'm in good hands. No one is your enemy. Again, literally no one. I'm looking at nothing and I'm calling it enemy. But behind the nothingness of fear, the fear surface I'm projecting, that ego could comment up or down or left or right about, and in many different ways, slice it, dice it, analyze it. All of that's meaningless. Behind it is the light they are, and they'll always be the light. So I might as well get down to basics, get down to what's real, get down to what's here, and recognize that the light and the truth and the love shining in, or you could say behind, or down upon, or even up from the ground, however you're going to visualize it or be aware of it. Doesn't have to be a picture. It's here. It's real. It's connected. Nothing can undo our connection. And pretending to see separate things here, we're attempting to undo our connection, but that's all we can ever do, is attempt to undo it. Okay, I think that's it. So, happy healing. Thank you for listening. Happy remembering our connection.